I was pregnant, and my family tried to hand my baby to my ex. My family pressured me to reconcile with my former partner, and when I stood my ground, they resorted to stalking and harassing me. A few weeks back, my mother invited me for a meal at her place. Despite a gut feeling warning me against it, I went anyway. Upon arriving, I was shocked to see not only my sister, whom I'd cut off 6 years ago, but also my ex, whom I parted ways with around the same time. It was immediately clear what their intentions were, and I tried to leave. However, my sister's husband blocked the doorway and warned me to sit down for my own good. Moments later, my sister spoke, and her words were so absurd I couldn't help but laugh. She declared that after learning I was expecting a child, they believed I was making a grave error, and it was their responsibility to convince me my ex was my true match. It didn't stop there. They also insisted that after my baby's birth, my husband should relinquish his parental rights to my ex. Before I could even respond, my sister began reciting a letter about how my ex was always meant for me, and how I'd shattered our family by refusing to marry him. About 5 minutes later, my brother showed up, visibly furious like I'd never seen before. He grabbed my belongings and expressed his deep disappointment in their behavior. We went outside and waited in his car until my father and husband arrived. By then, I was in tears, and my brother kept apologizing. I'm unsure what unfolded inside, but I sent an email to everyone except my mother, including my lawyer's contact details, stating I wanted no further communication. I warned that any attempt to reach me would lead to police involvement. No one has contacted me since, but my father informed me that my mother and sister are distraught, expressing a desire to mend things. My sister even hopes to be involved in my child's life, possibly as a godparent. My father is currently staying with my brother, and they both support me, though some extended family members don't. Mutual friends have reached out, concerned about my sister's well-being, asking what happened since she's now claiming my husband is isolating me from my family. I dislike airing private matters, but I decided to share a detailed post on Facebook about the ordeal. My sister, her husband, and my ex are facing public criticism, which, while not entirely my intention, feels justified. For context, I began dating my brother's close friend at 16. We stayed together until I finished high school when he proposed, and I declined. This caused significant drama, with my family urging me to reconsider, suggesting a prolonged engagement or future reconciliation. My relationship with my brother, now 36, was strained for a time, but my bond with my sister, 32, never recovered. She was convinced my ex was perfect for me and became insufferable when she started dating my ex's brother. My siblings kept inviting my ex to family events, even holidays, and I initially stayed silent since he was their friend too. But my sister's relentless efforts to reunite us, arranging blind dates, forcing us to share rooms during vacations, became too much. Eventually, I asked my parents to step in. They spoke to my siblings, stopped inviting my ex to events, and limited his presence. Things improved slightly, but while my brother relented, my sister didn't. The situation escalated when I met my husband during a semester abroad. He was from another university but the same country, and our connection was instant and magical. We got engaged after a year of dating, and most of my family was thrilled except my sister. She dismissed it as a fleeting phase, insisting I'd outgrow it. Despite countless arguments and her attempts to push me back toward my ex, I warned her that another stunt would end our contact. What did she do? She made me her maid of honor and ensured I spent time with the bridal party, including my ex, while assigning one of her friends as my husband's date. We didn't realize until the reception when the woman made a move on my husband. My sister claimed that since we weren't married, exploring other options was fine. I left the event, and the next day, I told my parents and brother that I was done with my sister. I made it clear I wouldn't force them to choose sides, but any attempt to mediate would result in me cutting them off too. My mother was heartbroken and tried to negotiate, but my father and brother respected my decision. Apart from 2 attempts by my mother, I've had no contact with my sister for 6 years. She's tried everything, gifts, outbursts, but I've ignored her. At family gatherings, I treat her as if she doesn't exist. She initially made snide remarks or stirred drama, but with no support, she eventually stopped. She did, however, have a breakdown when she learned she was invited to my wedding, but excluded from planning. My brother feels guilty for enabling the situation for so long, and his friendship with my ex has cooled, though they still talk occasionally. Update: my family's current state is chaotic. I spoke with my mother, but she remains convinced she knows best, calling me a terrible person and threatening to pursue grandparents' rights or even custody of my child. Her words sent me into a panic, so we sent her a legal notice. My father has permanently moved out, unable to condone her actions against me. My brother and his wife have also gone no contact with her. It may seem abrupt, but the distress from that intervention was overwhelming. My husband confronted them, urging them to reflect on their priorities and warning that we wouldn't raise our child in a toxic environment. It's one of the many reasons I adore him. He's devastated by my mother's duplicity and vows she'll get nothing from him. That's the extent of our revenge. My husband and sister-in-law addressed my mother-in-law's earlier comment, explaining why it was inappropriate. As many suspected, she's a kind, family-oriented woman and understood immediately. My father and brother continue to apologize for their roles, with my father struggling to process how things escalated. They're fully behind me, ready to support me against any challenges my mother or sister may pose. Update 2. My brother and his wife explained to their children that their grandmother is unwell and tried to harm me and their unborn cousin. They clarified that she's no longer part of our lives but still loves them. It was a tough conversation, but the kids are perceptive. They were also told their other aunt is out of the picture, which they didn't mind since they've never liked her, not just because of me, but due to her unkindness toward them. My mother was furious when informed and insisted she has rights to see her grandchildren. My father is looking for a permanent home, but is staying with us until January, partly because my brother's mother-in-law is visiting, and we have limited space. My father has been bombarded with messages from my mother, but his lawyer advised him not to block her yet. He briefly considered reconciliation, but after my mother and sister showed up at my house uninvited, my blood pressure spiked dangerously. My sister had never been to my home, and my mother knew she wasn't welcome, yet they convinced my cleaning lady to let them in, as I hadn't yet informed her of the situation. I saw their car when returning from errands and didn't enter. I called relatives, and my husband's sister, who was nearby, confronted them, threatening to call the police for trespassing. They left, and I felt ill afterward. A doctor's visit confirmed the stress was harming me and the baby, urging me to relax. My father, brother, uncle, and husband went to my parents' house and retrieved all of my father's belongings. My husband reported that my sister was there, screaming that he'd ruined her family. My father told them their actions nearly endangered my baby, and he's done with them. My sister sent desperate messages to my brother, but he's unmoved. I'm heartbroken for my nephew, who's losing family due to his mother's irrational behavior, but it's unavoidable. Regarding my mother's threats about custody and grandparents' rights, my lawyer sent her a letter stating her actions have harmed my health and the baby, and further harassment will lead to legal action. My brother also sent a letter citing her harassment. Both my mother and sister refused therapy, and while they may have mental health issues, it's clear they've been aligned in their actions for years. I'm focusing on the holidays, my health, and therapy. Update 3. My brother, husband, father, sister-in-law, and my husband's family changed our contact information, got new devices, and informed employers, friends, and police. We've started individual and family therapy. My father and brother feel immense guilt, despite my forgiveness, but we're healing together. My sister and mother insist they're in the right and refuse therapy. My father revised his will, leaving a trust fund and inheritance for my sister's son, but only a nominal amount for her. He's completely done with her. I initially felt sympathy for my sister, but shifted my focus to my newborn daughter. Her arrival has been a blessing, and despite my mother's absence, our friends and family have been incredibly supportive. To identify leaks, we tested some contacts by sharing false information about my labor. It worked, revealing who was passing information to my mother and sister, and we cut them off. Others understood when we explained. My ex, whom friends now call Bates, has been claiming my baby is his, alleging an ongoing affair. No one believes him, but my husband contacted his employer, detailing his behavior. Bates was suspended pending review and is likely to be fired, as his employer has requested more details and expressed regret. My mother has tried to locate us, but no one in our circle shares our whereabouts. My father's lawyer sent her a notice that all communication must go through legal channels due to her instability. My father has been an incredible support, helping with childcare and spending time with my nephews. He even secured visits with my sister's son after she made threatening videos, which he reported to the police, halting her behavior. Some have suggested I gave Bates false hope, but that's far from true. I spent years uncomfortable, hoping he'd move on, and after meeting my husband, I fought my sister's attempts to interfere. My long engagement delayed my marriage until after my sister's, but I chose a healthy life for myself and my family over any lingering affection. Update 4. We moved into a new home with my father in the guest house. After discussions in and out of therapy, we agreed he should stay close but have his own space. We're renting out our old place and will decide its future later. My father sees all the grandchildren together 3 times a week, though my sister's son is separate since she demands to know his location, which we refuse given her behavior. My mother complained to lawyers about my father's access to the grandchildren, but she has no leverage. A month ago, my father confessed something that made my stomach churn. He's been paying for my nephew's schooling and childcare, which is why my sister allows visits. He felt guilty for keeping it secret, but I reassured him it was fine. On Mother's Day, my father received a link to an Instagram video portraying my mother as abandoned and my sister as her saintly supporter. It infuriated me, but I forwarded it to the lawyer. My father filed for divorce in May, and the process continues. My mother insists he's wrong, but he's adamant about never returning. My brother and husband took him out for Father's Day, ensuring he enjoyed it despite my sister's online rants. They also went on a camping trip, setting up a tent in a hotel suite for the kids, which was a hit. Having my daughter has been a joy, and my husband's fatherhood is everything I expected. Our support system, family, friends, and my mother-in-law, who visits weekly, has been invaluable. She respects our boundaries, and I feel heard, though I sometimes grieve the mother I thought I had. My therapist reminds me to focus on the positive, and I'm trying. Bates was fired, and his professional reputation is ruined, especially since he worked with vulnerable women in a field sensitive to stalking allegations. His brother's job was less affected, as his industry is less reputation-driven. Bates sent a 12-page letter claiming I'm denying him what's his and accusing my husband of sabotaging him out of insecurity. My lawyer summarized it as I didn't read it. I heard Bates' children's mother moved away, and he was indifferent, yet he's obsessed with playing family with me and my daughter. He's moved back with his mother, so he's unlikely to face real consequences. Update 5. My parents' divorce is finalized. My mother kept the house and received a lump sum, but my father is free and thriving. We didn't fire our cleaning lady, who's been with my husband's family for decades. My father ensured she wasn't out of work, and her family has shown gratitude with food and gifts. Her sister, who owns a nail salon, is now dating my father. She's a kind woman with grown children, and they both value their independence. My mother was livid, calling it a midlife crisis and accusing him of being a sugar daddy. She's struggling financially, having relied on my father to curb her spending. My sister is also struggling since my father stopped financial support for her, though he initially continued for my nephew's sake. Things took a turn when my nephew began repeating harmful narratives, calling my daughter an affair baby, and denying her cousin's legitimacy. During a birthday party, he pushed one of my husband's nephews, claiming only he was a true cousin. My father confronted my sister, who dismissed it as a child telling the truth. He cut them off until she addresses the behavior, and my nephew now attends public school. Bates remains unemployed and sent 2 more lengthy letters, which my lawyer handles. At a grocery store, a woman confronted me, claiming my daughter was Bates based on a photo he shared online. The photo was private, sent only to a family group, revealing that my father's 2 sisters were leaking information to my mother. He cut them off without hesitation. Update 6. My brother and his family are thriving, and we spend frequent time together, including family holidays. His wife is relieved to be free of my mother, whom she never liked but tolerated. My in-laws remain wonderful, and my mother-in-law now has overnight babysitting privileges, which she loves. She hosts all the grandchildren, who adore her airplane-themed games from her flight attendant days. She made her social media private due to my mother's stalking. My husband keeps me grounded through minor issues, and we're considering expanding our family, either through another child or adoption, thanks to our strong support network. I still mourn the mother I thought I had, but her toxicity threatens my family's safety. For Father's Day, the family went on an actual camping trip, which was a success despite some sunburns and mosquito bites. Thanks for reading. Your support means everything. Please like, share, and subscribe this channel for more real family stories. See you soon.